Good morning and welcome to Gulfstream today. Brian Nadeau with you here on a little bit of an overcast Friday afternoon in Hollandale Beach, but a fast main track, a firm turf course at Topeka as well. And we hope to see you out here. A big weekend of racing. The turf stakes tomorrow. If you haven't taken a peek already, the Tropical Park Oaks and the Tropical Park Derby are phenomenal, deep and competitive, overflow field. So we've got a power 11 race card for you tomorrow, but pretty darn good one here today on Friday as well. We've got a 10-pack for you. We hope to see you out here again. The weather's been nothing short of phenomenal during the kickoff to the championship meet, which is somehow now in the midst of its third week. And, you know, the championship meet, what that means is big pools and big payouts. And I think we've seen that in the Rainbow Six because we're already up to now in this 10-race Friday card. That'll get going in race number 5. We're already up to $350,000 in this guesstimated kind of pool. And I think it's going to be a pretty big sequence today. Tomorrow's is going to be huge. But, you know, I think $400,000 could be in play today. And that means tomorrow could be $500,000. So jump in because now we're to the point where if you get a long shot or two and you have the day of your life handicapping, you know, you're going to have a life-changing score. And that pool is going to be huge. Ronnie's going to be out with me later on, Samantha as well, and he's got that ticket. And it's a fun sequence today, deep and competitive turf racing. We've got the TT Pick 3 back as well. But, of course, to kick off the card in about 54 minutes, we've got the early Pick 5, and that's good. Those pools have been $250,000 and counting. So we thank everybody for stringing along. We couldn't do it without you, and you know, that's why the championship meet is what it is. Let's take a look at my early Pick 5 now. I had a big robust ticket. I'm gonna shave it down to $40 here. I had too deep to double it to $80 in the final race. I'll talk about it in a second. I don't want to give that kind of ticket out. We'll go 4 deep in the opener, which we'll get to in a minute here. Race number 2, the top pick is the 5, Speed Control. Should be a short number there for Carlos David and IRAB. Spreading in race 3 and 4. Top pick in race 3 is the 5. That's the first-time starter for Safi. That is Curved. In race number 4, the 7 on top for me. That is Shibwe, trying the Topeka for the first time for Heather Smullen. And then I'm singling Lamcaro, getting back to a turf sprint in race 5. Certainly the 5, Rebel with a Clue, the Wesley Ward firster that he owns, will be tough and likely favored in there. But I'm going to go with the experience edge of Lamcaro. I will use the 5 in my early Pick 4, though, to double that ticket up. That's a $40 play. Now let's get back to the opener here. These are 12-5 maiden claimers. We go 6 furlongs on a fast main track. 2-year-old fillies in the spotlight here. Scratch the 12, Maca Abario, and a late kind of sort of jock switch on the 4, Cicatriz, and that is Jesus Rios, of course, doubling up in both Florida bred stakes for him. That was great to see, and he's going to be in at 118. The 4 is Rios at 118. Top pick for me is the 10, and that is Wink of an Eye. It's so early in the betting, but my goodness, this horse is 16-1, which is comical. I don't know, maybe I missed this horse on the morning line, but this is Kathleen O'Connell on the biggest drop in racing. And we're not only that, but we're going from a maiden special weight all the way to the bottom. And Kathleen's had a good go of it here at the championship meet. She's 3 for 6. She's strung Luca along, who's done a very good job for her, and now he's going to ride again. And good to see Luca with 3 wins at the championship meet. I love the post here. The horse La Amazonia, who ran so well the other day, I mean, she was a freak that day for Oscar Gonzalez. She would be 1 to 100 in this spot here. So I know Wink of an Eye didn't do any running at the end, but she chased pretty good early, and when La Amazonia wired the field, it was a merry-go-round race, and she was trying to chase, and she paid the price, but I love the freshening. Kathleen is 24% maiden special weight to maiden claiming, and this is a great spot here, I think, for Wink of an Eye, who's, you know, showed a couple works since that race. I know the layoff could be a little bit worrisome, but I'm not going to get too involved with that. The 7 is Rancho Vista, another class dropper for Dave Brady. They bet these Dave Brady horses quite a bit, and here's a horse now that's been running for 35 and running for 50 on the hard chase, dueling early, chasing early, back on the main track here. Amicio is aboard as well, so I think there's reason to think Rancho Vista is going to fire a big shot today. I mentioned Cicatriz already with Jesus Rios. Now, Abario stable, you know I'm a big fan of the job Carlos Perez and Abario stables does. Well, they scratched the 12, and they're going to leave Cicatriz in, and if you got 2 and you only need 1, well, I think that's something to pay attention to. And this is another horse that should be a pretty square price. The 8 as well, my Emmy Award for Laura Cesaris, got to the main track just a few days ago, actually, was a distant second to G Mother, my best bet of the day, but was also well clear of third. And quite honestly, that's a race that would probably beat this field if we can run back to it. Take a look at a stat on the 3, and the 1 is also favored right now. But the 3 is Kent Sweezy. They typically bet the Sweezy horses that are live. This is a pretty good stat now. Maiden special weight to maiden claiming the last 5 years, he's 24%. The ROI is low because all the horses take a lot of money, and I get that. Kiss Cam, I don't know. Kiss Cam's been absolutely dreadful in her last 2 starts. Now, she has kept her speed. That was all the way back in July as well. The works don't really give anything away in the morning. If nothing else, she's been active for about a month and a half or so. They're going to bet her. Okay, maybe you take a little bit more notice. I was willing to fade her. I was really willing to fade the 1 infinitely for Gustavo Delgado. I have the utmost respect for the job this barn does. J.R. Rance, these are Derby-winning connections. We're debuting at the bottom. We're on the rail on a Gunnevera. What's that horse want to do at 6 furlongs? So we'll fade that one, especially if the tote continues to take action. Early pick 4 in race number 2. I'll tweet the ticket out in a little bit because Samantha's on TT pick 3 duty in a little bit. So I've got the ticket today. We'll tweet it out in a second. We're going to $170 on the Tapeta here. These are 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 3 races. A tag 17.5, a compact field of 6 here. I'm on the 5, Speed Control, and I think it's an aptly named Gelded Son of Mendelssohn because while he's not necessarily all speed, he's got some of it, and I think that's a big deal over Warbeat for Safi, the 6 horse, who has none of it. So I think Irad on a Carlos David Tapeta horse is going to take the initiative here. If we're not on the lead, we'll be very darn close to it. Probably 3 Wolves, the 2 horse, the other Safi might set the pace in here. But Irad is going to have a big tactical edge on Warbeat, and I think that's probably the path to victory here as well. Warbeat, I don't really know where his form is because he has not been very good in his last 2 starts on the Tapeta while taking money at 5-2 and at 4-1. Those are Florida-bred, state-bred optional claimers. He was not in for a tag. Now off a September 28th layoff, well, you can have him for 17.5. So I don't know if that's good, bad, or ugly. Safi puts them where they can win. Maybe it's time to move on from this horse if this Bridlewood homebred doesn't really have the fastball anymore. He's going to be bet. Tyler's aboard. I get it. But I think Speed Control, for a lot of different reasons, is in a better spot today. Certainly the other Safi, that's 3 Wolves, is dangerous as well. But he is going to rise out of a 2L win. And I can certainly tell you that Speed Control and even Warbeat are not going to be impressed with that effort. He's going to have to step it up today in race number 2. Speaking of that TT pick 3, it's going to kick off in race number 3. We'll go a mile on a firm turf course. Maiden special weight state breds going at it. Scratch the 1 Excuses. Scratch the 3 Patty's Gift. Now the rails are out at 45 feet, so take note of that as well. Speed's probably going to play pretty good in here. Let's take a look at Samantha's TT pick 3 ticket, and then we'll get into the body of this race. I love this not only the sequence, but this bet. 15% takeout and a $3 minimum. And if you've been with us kind of since its inception, it routinely pays a lot more than the parlay. It paid 14 grand last week, for Pete's sake. She's going to spread in race 3. I get it. I like what she's doing. Race number 5, she's going to single Rebel with a Clue, and I'm going to talk about that horse in a little bit, and that's the Ward Firster with John Velasquez aboard. And in the nightcap, will take you all the way to the finale. She's going to single the 11, and I've got the 11 on top as well. That is Balala. Safi off the claim on a stretch as well. Balala eligible to pop that field in the finale. And if you've been out of the loop a little bit or been sleeping at the wheel, this turf course over my right-hand shoulder has been fast, has been firm, and it has been playing to speed. And that's probably her idea in the finale, because I think if Balala breaks running, that could be down the road. Well, let's get back into this race here to kick off the sequence. And you can see Samantha's going 5 deep, and I get it. I was going 5 deep too until the 1 scratched out of it. We'll take a look at our first replay of the day. It's going to have Venezuela's Hope. This is a 2, Bluff, and Money Tour. Now, Bluff is the horse everybody's going to be playing today, and I get it. It's Irad, it's Team Cassie. This horse is going to be favored. This horse will be lower than 3-1 on the morning line because of the scratches as well. But I want to caution everybody. I would not want to take too short of a number on Bluff. Bluff really had no excuse here. You want to say maybe a little bit of a blind switch, I get it. But Bluff, to be perfectly honest, just didn't do a lot of running. I'll give him credit for garnering second late and kind of chasing on, but I don't think anybody's supposed to be overwhelmed by what we just showed you there. Certainly Money Tour is not a factor. Venezuela's Hope, who was running on a little bit late, he's going to have blinkers today. Maybe that sharpens him up for Barboza's second-time route as well. But really what I wanted to show you there was don't be scared by any of those afternoon performances, and that's simply why I'm going with a firster here. Curved, the 5 with a very nice pedigree, a Bridlewood homebred for Safi, for Edgar Zayas. This horse will not lose because he's a short horse. There's been plenty of works for this son of Into Mischief. Big-time pedigree here as well. First asking, well, maybe not, but the Dame Auxerre was a real nice runner, and this is a pedigree play, this is a connections play, and this is as much a play on everybody else as it is on the 5 Curve. Tab the tote board here. We want to see him live and taking money. Certainly, I mentioned Bluff already. Makes a lot of sense. The 9, Gianluca Be Lucky. The post is not ideal, but this is a big drop for this horse. Debuted in open company at Monmouth. Was an okay third up there at the Jersey Shore. Tried to smoke Glacken at Monmouth in the next start. Kind of got thrown to the wolves that day. Well, that didn't work out. We've been freshened. We're going to try turf today. I don't really like the turf for this horse, but what I like today is the extra turn in distance for this horse. We've got flatter on top. El Tish, back in the day. This, you do not see a pedigree with El Tish. Back in the day, I'm going to say 1995, El Tish was second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Maybe it was 94. I don't know. He was a dirt horse. He was a turf horse for Judd Mott. It's in the bottom of this pedigree for this horse to be okay on turf. You got to dig quite a ways because, like I said, you're not going to see El Tish in a pedigree anymore. But this horse, I think, is dangerous with the added ground. And Cocktail War, the 4 for D'Angelo. Going to try turf, but also going to try 2 turns today. He's eligible to move up as well. Let's sneak one more in before the break, and it's race number 4. And field of 7 on the Tapeta. This is a good race. $25,000 claimers here, 3-year-olds and up. It's a 2L. It's a clean field. It is an absolute head scratcher, quite honestly, for me. I went 5 deep. I basically used everybody that's got afternoon form, and I had no opinion. I went with the firster, the horse trying Tapeta for the first time, and that's Shebway for Heather Smullen. I like the post. I like Tyler aboard here. I like what this horse did last time. I understand he didn't finish at all, but he dueled really hard early on at a mile. And now, from a perfect outside attack post with a bunch of foundation off that race, 2 starts now off the trainer switch and off the long layoff for Heather. We're drawn perfectly. Look at that Tapeta drill on 11:29. I know they all work fast in the morning on Tapeta. I get it when it's very, very tight. He certainly showed like he could handle it. I love that Tyler says, yep, I'll get aboard here. And maybe he pops. This is kind of a Samantha Perry angle in that we're trying a different surface for the first time, and maybe we get the best effort out of it. The 5 is Masked Man, and it's just right there in front of you. Speaking of trying a different surface for the first time, that's what Masked Man did on the 23rd of November. Off the claim for Kent Sweezy, tries Tapeta, boom. Blows way up, wins easily, wins with something to spare, wins with a nice tactical gear as well. The post is perfect for Masked Man as well. We're stepping up and facing winners, but I like what Kent's doing here. He's not going to run this horse at the bottom after winning for the bottom in the maiden claiming races. He bumps him to 20, so he likes what he's got here, and I don't blame him because that was a very, very strong win. Rumsay Spree, he's favored on the morning line. I don't know, what's going to happen at post time, who they kind of gravitate to, but I think he should be favored in here because the Tapeta races 2 and 3 back. Not only are they proven against winners, they're a little better than what everything everybody else has done. Draw a line through the dirt race last time. He doesn't want to do that. They take a shot. Didn't work. Dave Fox and Joe Bravo. Dave, strong 2024. I think Rumsay Spree is clearly the horse to beat in this spot. Let's take a look at Can't Know It All, the Presque Isle Invader for Clement. Going to get Jaramillo aboard here. This horse is going to absolutely bottom out this field. It's going to win by 5 lengths. Don't forget now, this is Tapeta at Presque Isle Downs, and Morales, who rode him this day, is absolutely under a stranglehold. He really doesn't even want him to go on, but he's got to let him go at some point. He's going to blast this field by 5 lengths. This is the big leagues here now at Gulfstream Park. We're in the championship meet, so we're going to have to step way, way up. And I don't really know if he can answer the bell today, but if you watch this race, that was kind of sort of, he was in a canter there late. He was under a big snug hold. I think this horse could be dangerous. put him at 5-1. I don't know if they're going to bet him or not. This is a sharp barn. They like to bet this barn. I think there's other ways that would probably should or could take more money. You got David Song for Carlos David as well. But I wanted to show that effort and say can't know it all. And in the big leagues here at Gulfstream, I think he could be a player. Certainly, you don't see him on my board there, but I did use him in my early pick 5. So that's going to close it down for the first 4. That means we've got 6 left on this 10-race Friday card. When we come back, it's Rainbow 6 time. The guesstimated pool's 350. I'm betting the over in that, and Ronnie, who'll be out here later on, he's got the ticket for you. Stay tuned.
And they're off.
New DRF All Access Past Performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all 3 past performance formats. Easily switch between views. Access the most trusted information in horse racing with DRF All Access Past Performances. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Welcome back on Gulfstream today. Brian Natta with you. A 10-pack here for you on Friday. Really strong card on a fast and firm day at Gulfstream Park. And as I mentioned before we hit the break there, this Rainbow's huge already. $350,000 they're going to estimate today. I think it's 400's in play, to be perfectly honest with you, because it's a darn good sequence. Kicks off on the turf. We love that here in race number 5. As I mentioned, Ronnie will be back here for race number 1. Let's take a look at his updated ticket here and see what he's got going on. I know he's got a 43.20. Very few changes on his ticket. I know that for a fact. 3 deep in the opener, and you can see he's spreading a little bit on the interior races, 7, 8, and 9. Race 9 is his big spread in there. Race 8 got hit by the scratch bug a little bit, so I know he added in the 11. He's going to add in, I think, the 11. I got the 9, excuse me, in that spot. But the single is in race number 10, and I kind of think that's a bold one, and this is a tough. There's going to be people that have aspirations on sweeping this Rainbow that are probably going to buy race 10, or they're going to use anybody with a hint of form. Ronnie with a bold single. I love what he's doing there. He's singling the 1, because if you can do that in race 10, whoever you like, you get a ton of leverage in that spot. So let's get into it now. Race number 5. Kicking off at 5 furlongs on the turf. It's a maiden special weight here for 3-year-olds and up. As I mentioned earlier, your rails are out at 45 feet in here. Excuse me, I'm going too deep. I've got the 3-lump Caro on top. I want to show you why. It's been a while since his son of Liam's map turf sprinted, and I know it was back in April. This is his race, though. Watch what happens. He kind of gets just sucked into making first run because of the craziness that was going on there on the outside. He was settling nicely, and he gets forced into it. And the problem is arrogancy, who certainly didn't win this race. We know that. He never wins. Was out to his outside, pressing him. Well, look what Lamcaro does. He kicks here, and he just gets run down in this spot by Run Carson, and he got run down by a neck. Huge effort. It's one of those things where you got to really watch the race to see just how big it was to get beat a neck doing what he was forced to do while Run Carson is just kind of sitting back there licking his chops. That was a huge, huge effort, and I like him on top here. Certainly the 5, Rebel with a Clue. Wesley Ward, first-time starter. Wesley owns this gelded son of an Australian sire, Crucio, we'll call him. Wesley's already popped with a first-time starter on the turf sprinting in a maiden special weight race, but, that was the brother, or maybe the sister to Sweet Coffee, who's, a very, very nice turf sprinting filly. I don't know about Rebel with a Clue. We've got a European pedigree. This could be mighty sharp. How about this, too? And this is where I think the elephant's in the room a little bit. December 13th of your 3-year-old year is when you're going to debut. I don't like that at all, because you know how prolific Wesley is with 2-year-olds, with very late or early season 3-year-olds maybe. The fact that this horse at 3 as a gelding is going to debut on December 13th says maybe there's a little trepidation here. And I know how strong this barn is, and he loves to give the Hall of Famer Johnny V a leg up on a lot of his live horses. I'm certainly using this horse. I did not use this horse in my early pick 5. I did use him in my early pick 4 when I had a little more, I could spend a little more and it wouldn't cost I could use a little more horses and it wouldn't cost as much. I'm going to tell you, just tread a little bit lightly on the 5 Rebel with the Clue. The 1 be there. Yeah, he's going to get a piece. He always does, but he's 0 for 17, and he's going to run on. Thank you guys for putting this up. I appreciate that. Here's the firsters now in Gulfstream the past 5 years, and that stat has gone up because, like I mentioned, he had the firster, the homebred last week win. That was a nice horse. We're going to see about Rebel with a Clue today. I'm going to personally take a wait and see approach. Be there. Will run on late. You don't want to try looping fields at 5 furlongs on the Gulfstream turf course. You couldn't do it at Aqueduct going 6. I don't see it getting done here at 5, even with the Hall of Famer Javier Castellano aboard. Race number 6 kicks off the late pick 5. Let's take a look at Samantha's ticket, and then we'll get into this maiden special weight race for the 2-year-old fillies. She is $40, 2 deep here. You can see her spread is in race 7. That's interesting because my best bet is in there. She doesn't like West Bank. I don't blame her. We'll have some fun with that one in a second here. Race number 8, I've got my long shot, the 11 Lily Bird, but that's out the window now with scratches. She's 2 deep, spreading in race 9, and you can see her single. Ronnie singling with the 1 in race 10. Samantha singling with the 11. Balala off the claim for Safi Joseph Jr. $40 late 5 ticket. Let's get into the opening leg here. Maiden special weight. We'll stretch these gals out, the 2-year-old fillies, to a mile on a fast main track. We have a clean field of 7. I feel like the race is certainly going through the homebred here. The 6 Ruth. I want to show you the workout for Ruth. Couldn't find a lot on some of these horses, but this is Ruth's workout. I believe this is on the 22nd, and Ragba on the inside. I thought this was a pretty polished drill. I know she's outside, so she kind of gets the best of it, but she's under a pretty good hold here under Palm Beach Downs. It doesn't look like they asked her for a whole heck of a lot, but I like how she did it. You can see her stablemates are being a little bit more aggressive down on the inside. Ruth's got her anytime she wants, and watch just a little flick here, and she's going to kind of go about her business while the stablemate's really all out. I thought this was a pretty solid drill. Very tough to debut at a mile, but the good thing that Ruth has going for her, I don't want to disparage any of the experienced runners. They don't look like much at all, and I think Ruth is going to be in a big spot here to break her maiden at first asking. You get Todd, you get Irad, you get a short price as well. Look at this stat too. Thank you guys. 36% first-time starters on the dirt the past 5 years. It's a big stat and sample for Irad and Todd Pletcher. Ruth at a short number on top. The other firster, well, there's a few others. The other firster, though, that I want to mention is the 1 Into Royalty. I don't like the post, but this is Bill Mott with a first-time starter. Hey, Junior Alvarado, one of the best guys in racing, back here. Great to see. Wins his first race yesterday. He'll have a lucrative winter down here as well. Nice pedigree here. I know the dam couldn't run. She was 0 for 5, but she was a full sister to Honor and Serve, who won, I believe, the Woodward up at Saratoga, and Angela Renee as well. And those 2 horses collectively banked over $2.3 million. Big pedigree, bullet work. Bill a little bit more patient. Watch the tote board here, but I think Into Royalty with that kind of name and pedigree says she might be a runner as well. Race number 7 kicks off the late pick 4, 6.5 on a fast main track. Fillies and mares 3 and up who have never won 2 races. Your tag is 8. The only switch is the 2 Holy Kingdom. Mika Husbands will get aboard. The Apprentice getting aboard. Let's take a look at my late pick 4 ticket. I moved this up to $30 with a scratch or a couple scratches in here. Singling off the rip, spreading in race 8 and 9, and 3 deep in race 10. And we'll get to this throughout this sequence in a second, but my best bet is in here. And this is West Bank, and anybody who's kind of followed us on the morning show or throughout the afternoon is probably laughing me out of the building right now, because West Bank in this race number 7, the 6 horse, was getting all the first place votes in the pool as the biggest hanger in racing. But I want to show you what happened on November 16th last time. Finally, after nibbling, after threatening, after saying, I don't want to win a horse race, not only does she win, but she wins by 4 lengths in an absolute tour de force. And I know she kind of had the win. There was nothing in here. But it's more the way she did it. It's the way she finally leveled off in the lane, didn't wait on horses, had the 4-star performance at any point in time. And star performance, if you look in your past performances, didn't finish anywhere. And West Bank's going to win by 4. And I have this angle, and you probably heard me talk about it a lot. When a lifetime maiden finally wins, sometimes the light bulb goes on and they come back and pop right back. And that's why she's my best bet of the day in here. And I love Irad getting aboard for Louis Ramirez. And the other thing I like as well is the other 7 gals in here. They're just not much at all. Facing winners can be difficult. If you ever want a field to face winners, it's today at 3:34 in the p.m. because there's not much in here. West Bank onward and upward from 0 for 12 to 2 for 14 for me. Underneath threats to the 8, Wildcat Lunita. She's got speed, if nothing else. Rocky Seas, just won last time, and I think that's not a bad thing. Wildcat Lunita, the 7, has speed. Down on the inside, Joya Rara. She was okay last time, but I think this is all West Bank at another short price. Late pick 3, dollar late pick 3 in race number 8. 5.5 furlongs on the Tapeta. Scratch bug here, unfortunately, in this $25,000 maiden claimer. The 1, Want All the Smoke. The 2, Grand Sticker. The 5, Alluring Serenity. In the 7, Slew Diva, out. And what that means is I no longer have a long shot on the 11, Lily Bird, who will be a lot lower than the 6-1 that's on her morning line. And I didn't know if they'd play her or not, to be perfectly blunt with you. I want to show you, though, she's adding blinkers today. And I want to show you what she did blowing out on December 15th with the hood on here for Eddie Plesa Jr. This is a gate drill at 3 furlongs. She breaks a little bit to the outside. That could be a little bugaboo today because she's outside again. But when she levels off, she's going to hum 35 flat. It was on the main track. It was, as you can see, obviously from the gate. And the blinkers, to me, I see a lot more focused of a filly here that's really wanting to do a lot more, certainly a lot more than she's ever done in the afternoon. That is for sure. This is a very difficult field to get a handle on. But I thought that drill says with the blinkers today, she's in a good spot, and she's going to be a little more focused as well. You could go, there's going to be people, the Rainbow players are going to buy this race. I don't think there's any doubt about it because they all kind of look the same on paper. They're all 7-2, 4-1, 9-2 kind of horses in here. I've got the 9 Happy Sunday in second. Mike Yates on a drop back to the proper level where she was just second. 2 starts back for 35. The Forest Neblina, Oscar Gonzalez, Vincente Stella, and Irad. She is your 4-1 morning line favorite. That tells you what kind of race this is. You better spread in here. The 3, Venezuela's Pride, is going to try Tapeta for Barboza and Jaramillo. Victor Barboza continues to have a very good go of it at the championship meet. Feature race time in the 9th. We'll go a flat 1-turn mile for the State Breds on a fast main track. It's an optional claimer here. Scratch out the 4, Avant Glory. A big scratch because he probably, and he was my top pick, unfortunately, he's probably going to have some speed in here. Now I default to the 7, Raging Fury, Nolan Ramsey at a short price with Irad. He ran pretty well off the claim last time. Secret Chat on the comeback for Barboza, I think, is a horse that's probably going places and will be a stakes bred, stakes caliber Florida bred. Raging Fury ran well off the claim. He's clearly the horse to beat. Let's show you Awesome Train and Lasso, because Awesome Train spiced up the rainbow on a mandatory day in his last start, and he did it the right way too. I think a lot of people thought that 3rd in the Gil Campbell 2 back was a little flukish because it was at such a big number and he really didn't threaten anybody that day. Well, I'll tell you what, it wasn't a fluke because this was a good win for Antonio Sano. And the other thing with Antonio, when they win for Antonio, they typically keep their form. It's not usually a flash in the pan kind of one and done type of effort. I think Awesome Train from a perfect post, the mile is going to suit him as well. I think he could be right back here to double up. Lasso, he ran fine. If Awesome Train bounces a little bit, because that was far and beyond what he's better than what he's done in the past, Lasso could be the one in here because his form is still ascending for Delgado and Arundel, and he's now in his 3rd start off the layoff and 3rd start in the form cycle as well. And that typically can bring about a horse's best. Let's get to the finale now. You saw singles for Ron and singles for Samantha. You don't see anything like that for me because I think it's a very, very tough race. We'll go a mile and a 16 on a firm turf course, $35,000 maiden claimers yield. Your rails are at 45 feet. David Egan's going to ride the 5, Greek Sing, and all we're doing is scratching the AEs, the 13 and the 14. I'm on the 11, Balala. It's Safi off the claim. It's a stretch as well from 1 turn to 2. Let's take a look at the stat. I would imagine Edgar Zayas is going to try to pop this field. If we break running, he'll try to wire the field here. Not a big sample. First off the claim, Tapeta to turf in the past 3 years, just 2 for 18. That's actually surprising to me that Safi hasn't done this in the past. He tried this yesterday with a Tapeta runner. Ron and Samantha's best bet of the day. Unfortunately for him and them and the connections, they're off, you lose. The horse ran really well, though. I believe to be 3rd, maybe 4th. The horse you want to look for next time back. But Balala today, Kozan out of a forestry mare. So it's not really a pedigree that's supposed to love 2 turns, but it's in there. It's definitely in there, Kozan especially. So Balala, I think, is eligible with an alert beginning to set the pace and maybe pop these guys. The 8 is Mia Vita. Excuse me. Trainer switch to D'Angelo. Maiden special weight races open, obviously. Maiden special weight races at Belmont at Aqueduct. D'Angelo today. Blinkers, a stretch. Hey, Luis Saez. Welcome back to him. What a big winter he's set up to have here at the championship meet. And Mia Vita, another pace player. Maybe the 2 of them just kind of go about their business on or near the front end. Ronnie singling the 1 breezed through time, and he drew much, much better than my other top 2 picks. The only turf race was by far, to me at least, his best effort. That was a good effort. 2 starts back, 4:35. Liz Dobles down on the inside with the Hall of Famer John Velasquez, who, listen, Johnny's in the Hall of Fame for 1,000 different reasons, but the ability to 2-path press or stalk from an inside post is one of the reasons, and I think breeze through time is eligible. If Johnny can get him to the outside into that first turn, and I expect he'll be able to do so, he's got a huge chance here, and this is a phenomenal finale. This is a rainbow sweeping kind of finale. Let's take a look now. 10 of them for you here on the card. Let's take a look at the lightning round before we leave you. And as we mentioned already, that TT pick 3, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday during the championship meet, the last 3 turf races on the card, $3 minimum wager and a 15% takeout. And that's the best bet you're really going to find in racing. And today, races 3, 5, and 10. I told you earlier it paid, I believe, $14,000 last week. So that's that kind of bet. Get involved because today's sequence is awesome. Samantha's got the ticket, filmed the video as well. And, of course, she'll be out here with me in a little bit. Hey, Moita Barrio, so good in his comeback. The water's getting a lot deeper going forward. A lot of people, I think myself included, thought he would prep in the Harlan's Holiday at 2 turns. Nope, he's going to prep sprinting in the Grade 3 Mr. Prospector, and that's going to add a lot of fuel to that race, and that's pretty cool to see. Here you see him tuning up for that start under a stranglehold with the ears pricked. He wants to do more. I don't really think we've figured anything out in his comeback. He didn't beat anybody, but he did it the right way, and it was a means to an end. First start back with Safi, and C2's got him rolling again, and the Pegasus on January 25th is front and center for Moita Barrio, and he's going to prep for it in the 7-furlong Mr. Prospector, and then he'll go 2 turns for all the money on January 25th. Hey, breakfast came back last weekend at the track, and it's been very, very well received. And you can come out in the morning, 7:30 a.m. You can get a little breakfast. That's always a good thing, right? And you can see morning workouts. You can find out just kind of a lot of what's going on the backstretch and what gets involved, what goes on getting everybody to the races on an afternoon, because there is a lot of activity in the mornings here at Gulfstream Park at the track, and you'll be able to see these horses tune up and kind of get some advice and expertise in what goes into all of that. My best bet of the day today on this 10 race card is, I'm going to say it quietly, it's West Bank in race 7. We're going to try to double up today after finally breaking the maiden last start. In my long shot, it's out the window for 4 scratches in race 8, unfortunately, but Lilybird is quote-unquote that technical long shot today, race 8, and a good one on the Tapeta. I'll tell you what, this Rainbow's phenomenal today, 350 in the estimated jackpot. Hey, Pete's upstairs to guide you through all the scratches and changes. Happy to have you aboard on this 10-pack. Thanks.